Welcome back to Unstabled. This is the 25th episode. We got week one in the books against the Texans, and we're heading into the Packers. So thanks for coming back. We gained a few subscribers since the last episode. We're up to 52, but we want to keep growing. So make sure like, share, subscribe, help us out. We're trying to get to a point where you can make some dollar bills doing this, and we also enjoy doing it. With me is Justin, Kingmaker _ DFF. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, buddy. Welcome to another episode. Looking forward to week two. Let's not look at the past. Getting ready for the Green Bay Packers.
Don't go Packers. And we've also got Alex. I'm not even going to try to say his last name.
Yeah, that's fine. Historically,
Alex-
we're pretty good against the Packers, so I kind of like the odds here.
You can always check him out at Chaotically Intolerant. He's got a ton of content, always doing a lot of stuff. Busy man.
Yeah.
I am, of course, your host, Jeff Steckel, aka Big Steck. You can find me pretty much on any social, Big Steck 88 or Big Steck, some combination of that. I'm pretty active on most of it. And while you're here, make sure you drop a comment. Even if you're a Packers fan, you think we're full of it, and you want to prove us wrong, argue with us in the comments.
Tell us
we
why.
like talking football. Tell us why. Tell us why we're wrong, and we're gonna tell you why we think your team is booty. So I mean, we're past the Texans. I mean, it was a really good game. I think it kind of showcased. And I was telling the guys in this AFC South show, it was a prime example of why they took Anthony Richardson at 4, and also why we need to temper our expectations with him. Toddler, sorry. He's running around with a box of crayons. Anyway, yeah, I mean, this is the kind of game you're going to get from. It's always going to be a mixed bag, and I feel like we're going to get a lot more games this season.
Yeah, I'll say I was actually pretty encouraged by this one. I know it's a loss, but to be so close, to be right there when the stats are just so lopsided. Like if they had the ball for 40 minutes and we lost by 2 points, like that's a pretty encouraging thing, I would say. Obviously, it doesn't feel good to lose, but it feels a lot like kind of last year's Texans. Hopefully, this will repeat the cycle that I've my little conspiracy theory, the AFC South cycle. Just the team that's supposed to win ends up blowing it late in the year. Jags did it. The Titans did it for the Jags. Jags did it for the Texans. I think we're up next for the Texans. And then next year it should repeat itself and we'll blow our lead to the Jags again. So
Sure. So I guess we'll talk about injuries, and there was a really big one for both teams, for both the Colts and the Packers. Of course, well, actually, there's a few for the Colts. The biggest one was Juju Brents, and that one probably season ending. They're saying maybe back in December, probably not. And he was, aside from Kenny Moore, that he was the secondary. That's that I'm going to throw credit out where credit's due. I fully supported Latu, picked it 15th. I'll still support it, but there was a huge mistake not grabbing a corner probably in that second round. Moving up to get one of the two that were still available, and now this just amplified it. So I'm eating crow a little bit on it, and now it's the secondary was already pretty bad, and this doesn't help.
I feel vindicated, to say the least. That was my biggest issue with this team, and not only you. There was other Colts fans out there that were very like, "Oh, the secondary is gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine." And I was like, "You can't rely on guys who consistently are injured to stay healthy. It's the law of averages. It's percentages. If a guy is 66% of the chance to get hurt, you're gonna take the bet of the 66. You're gonna bet on he's gonna, you want to go with the bet that makes the most sense. That made the most sense to me. They didn't address anything in the offseason. They didn't bring in a free agent. I think we had like a 7th round draft pick, maybe. Like it was a piss poor effort. It was literally Chris Ballard just saying, haha, like we we think you're an idiot. Like anyone who thinks this secondary is in trouble, you're an idiot. And we're going to take someone late just to stick it to you. Say like, yeah, we know what you're saying, but we don't care.
And I don't think he's on the team anymore either. Like I don't know if
Oh,
he's
he
on the
isn't. He
practice
didn't even
squad.
make the
What was
cut.
it? Was it Jalen Simpson? I think was his name. And I don't think he made the cut. I'm
I
not
don't
sure if
even
he's
know.
even on the practice squad. To be honest, I don't have that pulled up.
I don't even know.
If he's there, they didn't call him up either. So
Yeah, either way, it just this is frustrating. It's frustrating. I think there are a lot of people that did see this coming a mile away. They're like, why didn't you at least get some reserves? Why didn't you where's the backup? There's just there's no backup. And I hope our backup can come in and ball out. I hope they prove me wrong. But I didn't see a lot of encouraging stuff. And we also just got killed in the run game. And we were just getting picked apart in the passing game. That's why people are like, "Oh, maybe it won't be as bad." I see some people saying it won't be as bad. No, they just didn't. They didn't exploit that part of it of our game because they exploited our run defense.
yeah. Well, I mean, they saw that we're very aware of what the receivers can do, what their quarterback can do, and I've been adamant about Gus Bradley. I'll get into that in a little bit, but never adjusted, never did anything. They were gashing us on the ground because we were playing the pass and never changed it. Like it was infuriating. And I just don't trust his ability to change up the scheme mid game. I've never been on the like ever since last year I've been over Gus Bradley. I don't think we have the personnel to run the defense that he wants to run. Especially
I've never been
now.
a big Gus Bradley fan anyway. So hopefully this is I don't know. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for week 1, but he hasn't proved to me recently, recently being the past couple of years that he's actually been worth a damn. So if it don't work out, I'd be okay with moving on and finding somebody else instead of recycling the same people that prove that they can't cut it anymore. 1 or 2 good seasons in the league, and then now you're living off that for the next 10 years while other people who have better minds for the game are getting passed up. No, let's look somewhere else for somebody who's with modern football. Let's stop living in the past, right?
Yeah, he definitely has this job because of his tenure with Seattle, and it's we don't have a team like that. Not on. I mean, we have really good players on defense, but not where they're
not future Hall of Famers like they did,
like
or they did.
Buckner,
Yeah,
I'd say him is probably a Hall of Famer,
but it's not like we got a Bobby Wagner, Earl Thomas,
on the
like
same
those
team,
guys, the
Richard
Legion of
Sherman.
Boom, like
Yeah,
Richard. Yes, the whole secondary pretty much is going to be potential Hall of Famers.
I mean, Jalen Jones is probably not going to make the Hall of Fame. I'm just going to put it out there. I hope he proves me wrong, but probably not.
What do you mean?
Is Darrell Baker out there? Can we give him? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm with you. He's definitely living off of what he did in Seattle, and that era is gone. He doesn't have the elite talent. I love our guys, but they're not elite like those guys were. So let's start looking at somebody who can make something with I don't want to say nothing and be disrespectful, but with lesser. Make something with lesser, like as far as changing your scheme up when you realize they already got 100 yards on you.
For sure.
On the ground, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, just change anything. Like at that point, when they're just Joe Mixon, gloveless Joe Mixon, just change anything. Run any other defense. But he just stayed doing the exact same thing. No halftime adjustments. And I know
even on the last
adjustments are kind of bullshit. But
their last drive of the game, you still didn't do anything different. Like he gashed us for 8 yards to end the game. You did. Why wouldn't you put? What's the worst that's going to happen at this point? Why wouldn't you stack the box at that point? Okay, we lose. What's the fucking difference?
Yeah, let's maybe not run nickel the whole time. Let's try something different.
I said, like, how are you not selling out on the run here? Like, I think we got to like 3rd or 4th down on the first down they got, and I was like, why are you not just selling out on the fucking run? If they have the balls to throw the ball over your head and they beat you, then that sucks, but at least we made the conscious decision of we're getting gashed. Now we're just going to sell out. We're going to send everyone go and get Joe Mixon because he's fucking destroying us.
Yeah.
It's
right.
ridiculous.
Well, and we're
It was-
going to
it was
see
frustrating.
a similar running back like that with the Packers. I mean, you're going to have Josh Jacobs, who's a strong runner. You know, now he's not prime Josh Jacobs. You know, but then again, we didn't face a prime Joe Mixon either. As far as the passing attack, they have the weapons. You know, just like the Texans had. So we still have to show that respect. But at the same time, they don't have Jordan Love. Okay, so that's going to help Gus Bradley out. Okay, because they're bringing in Malik Willis. Come on,
The Colts
Malik
finally
Willis.
get to see Malik Willis. They finally get to see him. I don't think they ever got to saw him in Tennessee.
We'll just quickly go over injuries. I know I kind of got off onto a different tangent. Blackman, questionable shoulder. I didn't hear too much about it. I'm not too worried about it. Quiddy Pay, hamstring, questionable. Josh Downs returned to practice today. So that's promising. Matt Gay, they've already said he's a full go. No worries, no concerns. And DeForest Buckner, I think is a little more concerning. I think he actually left the game and didn't return, if I'm not mistaken, with a back injury. He's questionable. I think he'll play, but definitely something
Yeah,
to look at.
I think Buck's going to tough it out. He's one of those guys where he's not going to let some small bit of pain, you know, stop him.
I think it was the
he's
Matt
a fucking
Ryan
workhorse.
Yeah,
he's a workhorse.
There was the Matt Ryan year where they were done at the end of the year, no reason. I think he had like a shoulder injury, elbow injury. He had like 3 different injuries going on, and he's still out there playing when the season's done. So it's like, if he can play, he's going to play.
He's got that old school mentality.
For sure. The Packers, obviously Jordan Love, they said, I don't know if it's this their coach blowing smoke, trying to make us prepare for both Love and Malik Willis. I don't know. He had a pretty bad knee injury. It seemed like it'd probably be a few weeks before he's good. And they're like, yeah, he might play this week.
That's
doubtful.
Well, that's coach speak. Yeah, that he's trying to blow smoke.
The
Colts are not going to be that gullible.
Yeah, he was listed as did not participate. They have
Chris Ballard thought this cornerback room was good, so I don't know if he's. I don't know how gullible they are or not.
I'm gonna give Shane a lot more credit than that. I'm gonna expect him to understand. Hey, Malik Willis is gonna be the starter, and we're gonna have to scheme for that. So, which is good because Gus Bradley. Well, I mean, the good thing for Gus Bradley is this week it makes his job a lot easier because Malik Willis, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a beach ball. So we're fine. All those receiving weapons.
I'll do a Malik Willis statement here in a minute.
Okay.
The Packers injuries, Jordan Love, Marshawn Lloyd, I guess they're one of their backup running backs was limited. Josh Jacobs was limited with a back injury. Let's see, Edgerrin Cooper full, so he's going to go. He had a knee injury. Kenny Clark toe limited, and Corey Valentine oblique limited. But from what I'm seeing, there's nothing too serious except for Jordan Love, so I feel like they'll all play. So that's their injury report to look out for. But yeah, Malik Willis, and I guess we'll do a segment here in a minute. But this is what scares me about this Packers game. Because on paper, this is a game that the Colts defensively should take over, and offensively, they shouldn't struggle. But the Colts have historically looked bad on defense against average or below average quarterbacks. And Malik Willis has not looked good. In his tenure with Tennessee, when he did play, he looked awful. But we have a history of making these quarterbacks look good. And this game concerns me. Like, Colts have had a history with rushing quarterbacks. Even Lamar Jackson, when they kind of beat him up, he still had some really good runs against the Colts. He is an athletic. He's not like Anthony Richardson athletic, but he is an athletic quarterback. And this worries me. This has that I wouldn't call it a trap game because they're 0-1, but it kind of has that feeling.
Remember who was the quarterback for the Browns after Deshaun went out in the game last year? It was DTR, right?
Yeah.
Oh God, that guy gives me fucking nightmares.
Well, but
he just tore us apart, remember?
Not crap though. DTR was pretty decent at UCLA.
But he tore us the fuck up like that. how the way that he played was not equivalent to. I mean, he looked
Yeah.
like what Deshaun Watson looked like in Houston. I think he was hitting everything. We were just giving everything up. Refs didn't
Yeah.
help, but I really just I can't blame the refs. Like I see all of our mistakes. Like you can say what you want. There's probably a few calls that didn't go our way against Houston, but we got some too that were pretty fair. And
Yeah.
we made mistakes. That was it. And Richardson missing that deep shot. That was a big mistake. That would have won us the game. I know he's young. I don't really blame him for it, but that was a big mistake. Refs don't
I
matter if he hits that.
I got into an argument in a text with Isaiah. He's over at Third and Teal, and he called the throw to Alec Pierce lucky. Don't expect that to be the norm. It was a lucky throw, and I'm like, dude, did you even watch the fucking replay? Like
It
was
was
on a dot.
perfect. The placement was perfect.
It was perfect. It was in stride. He slips. He's got two guys' hands in his face, and he
Yeah.
flicks this 65-yard. I'm like, in the basket. Like it was not like Alec
Yeah.
Pierce had to adjust. He just hit him right in stride. Like it was a
I would
beautiful.
I mean,
understand the other one.
he's still a great quarter. I mean, not great. Excuse me. He's still a good quarterback. Now let's be fair. Yeah, he's not going to hit that shot 9 times out of 10, right? It's more going to be like maybe a 6 or 7. But I mean, give the man credit. He made a great throw. You know, don't take that away from him.
He did it a few times in this game too. Like he had another one to Alec Pierce that was pretty accurate. It was more contested, and he had that really good throw to Doolin. Granted, Doolin was just beat the shit out of his man. Like he had him beat.
Yeah.
But there was some really big plays in this game.
Yeah,
and I don't see. Okay, before I get into that, I guess I'll go through it first. If the Packers win, what did they do to beat the Colts? I guess whichever one of you.
they run the ball really fucking well.
Yeah.
And I think I don't even think they'd keep us from the little stuff because that's what Houston did. It felt like we couldn't do anything little. Like you really look at our scores. They were the deep ball to Pierce, the pass to Doolin that he just takes up the field, and the deep ball to Pierce towards the end of the game. And then was there another one, or did we kick field goals? I can't remember. Hold on, let me think.
I know they had a punt block, and Jonathan Taylor punched it in.
We didn't have a single sustained drive. There wasn't a dink and dunk, like go down the field 70, 80 yards, 10 plays that ate up clock. Like we didn't have that, and we didn't look competent enough to do it. We couldn't get any sort of drive started. It was go big or go home, which there's your positives to it. When we see Anthony Richardson hit a 60-yard fucking bomb on the fly, and then there's your negatives to it, where you have the ball for 20 minutes out of the game and your defense is gassed and you can't stop a fucking run. I guarantee you if they're on the field for 30 minutes, they're not rushing as much because they wouldn't have as many rush yards because they wouldn't be on the field as much. It's like, I mean, again, this is game 1, so this is all an overreaction. But if the Packers are able to keep the Colts from any sort of sustained drive, which I feel like the Colts might be able to keep the Colts from a sustained drive, they're going to win the football game. That's it. We're not going to beat them with 3 deep balls. We're not.
Fair enough.
No, I'm with you, Alex. I think definitely their running game is what they're going to lean on, knowing that Malik Willis, he's a great athlete, small school guy coming out of Liberty. He doesn't have the NFL experience yet. And I think that if you keep the edge on him, say in his face, he's not going to complete many passes. If he does, you're going to be seeing a lot of Luke Musgrave short, little short stuff. I'd rather give the underneath stuff than the over the top stuff, especially with their receivers, because Jaden Reed's nasty. That dude's a weapon. So that would be my priority in the passing game. But Josh Jacobs is going to be the key to their success, and I believe that's what they're going to build their offensive scheme around is Josh Jacobs. And the dude can catch. He proved that. The dude can catch. So you have to, I think, keep everything close. Stay out of nickel, Gus Bradley. Okay? Keep it close. You've got cover your one-on-ones on your big guys, but watch out for Jaden Reed. Watch out for Josh Jacobs. I think that's our key to success on defense.
You have to force Malik Willis to be a quarterback.
Yeah,
in NFL quarterback. You have to force him to do that.
This ain't Little Liberty no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you told Gus to stay out of the nickel, he had smoke coming out of his ears. Not fucking happening. No, I completely agree with you. If I'm the Packers, I am looking at what the Texans did to the Colts, and I'm going to do the same damn thing. I'm going to run it.
Yeah.
I'm going to run it. I'm going to run it again and over and over and over.
And if we're
Yeah.
just three guys that know that, I mean, you gotta know Gus Bradley's gonna know that. And if he doesn't, Shane Steichen, you're the boss. Go tell
Yeah,
him, hey,
take it
this is
over.
what I think you should do. Exactly. Take it over, just like you should have done against Houston. But
Yeah,
I mean, on
I
offense, we're
yeah,
good everywhere right now. Missing Josh Downs. I don't think he'll play. I think he'll be a scratch. Just give him another week because why rush him back?
Yeah.
But why not? If Alec Pierce showed you he can be a deep threat, then let him play outside, and then I would slide AD Mitchell inside. Let him be that nasty big slot receiver inside. I mean, the guy's amazing athlete. Let him go be an athlete. Put the ball in his hands because if you're eating up a bunch underneath, that's going to open up Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman. You know.
yeah. If I'm
Seeing what the Chiefs did with Xavier Worthy on Thursday night just like made me salivate. I was like, they have this speedster that I mean, he's not very big compared to AD. So I'm like, you have a
Yeah.
speedster that's also massive. Oh my god! Like, think of all the things you can do with him.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, if I feel like if the Packers, like I said, if they're going to win this game, it's going to have to be the same way they're going to have to control the clock and pound it. And on the flip, I think it's pretty obvious if the Colts win this game, then what did they do to beat the Packers?
They controlled Malik Willis. They imposed their will. They got in his face, and they made him throw interceptions. They made him throw incompletions, and they got sacks. I mean, I honestly would say look for about 2.5 sacks in this game easily. But on defense, that's what they did. Is they oh yeah, you think more? So I'm gonna stick with 2.5. I think that's gonna be safe. But Malik Willis is an athlete. He's gonna find a way to escape pressure. But then again, he's got to learn how to be an NFL quarterback, and this is gonna be his next test. He couldn't do it in Tennessee. Let's see if he can do it in Green Bay. I don't think he can. But hey, prove me wrong, Malik. Please prove me wrong. I've been wrong plenty of times. Um, but that's what I think is going to be the key to success there.
Controlling the clock. You said imposing your will. I think that kind of goes hand in hand a little bit with it, but just having the football for any amount of time. I felt like I didn't even watch the offense on Sunday, like whatsoever. I was like, I remember sitting there at halftime. I was like, man, I really haven't gotten to see all that much of Richardson. And I've been so excited to see because we didn't get to see a lot of him last year. And I was like, he's just not
Yeah.
on the field ever. And they have to control the clock. They have to. The other thing that drove me crazy is because Steichen does this. He did it last year. He's going to do it this year. Just not taking the fucking points. Take the fucking points early. You let the game shake out, and then you see what's going to happen later, and you know if you need it because that final drive could have been the game tying drive. We could have had Richardson, that awesome run that he scored the touchdown on fourth down, which he bungled that red zone drive. I don't know what he was doing. He was letting the clock run down. I don't know what the hell was going on. Was he not ready? Did he not have the plays ready to go on like the final drive? What? But going for it, we could have been down 8 if you just don't go for 2 there. Like I don't care. People will say, "Oh, you could have been down 7 if you get the 2." I'm like, I would rather
Well, we're
guarantee
down
yourself a
9 instead of
chance
yeah.
to win the football
Yeah,
game.
take the smart money, right?
It's one thing to play hero ball, and because I saw someone say this, going for 2 or going for it on fourth down early in the game on that first drive. Your first offensive drive, I like it. Just try and punch Houston in the mouth. We just lost to them, whatever, 6 months ago. The stadium just saw it. You want to go punch them in the mouth and say, hey, we're here. We're not afraid of you
Yeah.
now. I'm fine with that. You didn't get it. You leave
Maybe
them
not
at
pass the
midfield.
ball,
It was
but
the play
yeah,
Yeah,
call.
like
run the
the
fucking
yeah.
football. But you're at midfield. What are you giving up with this new kickoff? You're giving up 20
Yeah.
yards. They would have gotten that on 2 runs anyways. They would have gotten that on 2 Joe Mixon rushes up the middle, not even to the outside. They would have ran through.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that. But taking the points early is just so important. You are leaving points on the board. I feel like I don't say this when we get it. I don't say, "Oh, thank God we went for 2 early," or we wouldn't have. I always say it when we lose. I'm like, "Fuck, if we wouldn't have gone for 2 early, we would have been perfectly fine. We would have been able to go for 2 or just kick a field goal and tie the football game." And he didn't even give us a chance to win the game. He didn't even give us a chance to play hero ball. It's very frustrating. And he does it all the time. And this is what Reich did. He's going to keep doing it. It's not going to stop.
Yeah.
Analytics.
I think if the Colts win this game, like you said, it's going to have to be through Jonathan Taylor. And I'm going to focus on the offense for a second. I want to see a lot more. It seemed like they just ran him up the middle. It seemed like it was a very vanilla playbook. Steichen had a lot of pre-play action and movement, but it just translated to a very kind of a basic offense. Like there wasn't anything that you hadn't seen before. There wasn't, and we talked about it in the reaction to the Texans game.
It was boring.
There was nothing designed to Jonathan Taylor. No little wheel routes. No nothing. Like if you look at that Cincinnati Bengals game and how they opened that, there was nothing designed like that. No quick hitters, no rhythm plays, no nothing. Like even if it gains 4 or 5, 3 yards, at least it's a completion. It's like, okay, we kind of start, kind of moving the sticks, getting a little rhythm going. They didn't have any of that. So I think that's one of the main, not just getting Jonathan Taylor, but it's how you get him involved. Slamming into a brick wall 16 times for 48 yards or whatever it was, that shit ain't gonna cut it. He is your playmaker, but you got to find different ways to get him the ball in space, and they didn't do that at all. They were relying on the big play, and we were close, but didn't win. Close. I'm tired of close. I'm tired of almost. Just go back to basics. Just go back to basics is what I'm asking for on offense.
Yeah.
Lean on Jonathan Taylor, but if the run isn't working, get him involved in another way. I think Steichen will make those adjustments and do that. Defensively, your secondary sucks. Just say
you can't say anything else. They just sucked.
Yeah. So what they need to do is play to the strength of this defense, and that's Latu, that's Kwity Paye, that's Grover, that's Buckner, that's Zaire Franklin, that's that front seven. Yeah, Kenny Moore is he's a great slot corner, but we don't have anyone, so they're just not going to throw to where he's covering. So you're going to Jalen Jones, you're going to Flowers, or who the fuck, Chris Lamons that they just called up. Like you're going to throw to one of them. Like you're just not going to throw to Kenny Moore. So the strength of this defense is going to be, like you said, make Malik Willis very uncomfortable. Stop just bringing 4. If we let up the play, we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's like if Latu is commanding 2 people to block him, which I saw Houston doing, he had a good pressure and a great win rate. It just wasn't translating to tackles or sacks just yet. But he did great against Houston. He caused a couple of false starts. Like he was doing really well. So if they're giving him that kind of attention, that means everyone else is one up. Bring a 5th guy. The safeties. Nick Cross can't cover for shit. Just send him as the 5th man at the quarterback. That's the strength of your defense. If our secondary gets burned, who cares? They were going to anyway. At least this way, we get some people in Malik Willis's face and make him uncomfortable. Maybe force a mistake. If you keep bringing 4, you're either going to get a sack or he's going to have all damn day.
He'll make mistakes.
I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired of boom or bust. I'm tired of seeing that on defense.
I think I said the exact same thing all year last year too. So nothing. I said all the time. I was like, dude, just send fucking 5 or 6, send 6, send 7. At least just go get the quarterback before he's able to throw the ball.
Send 11. Send the whole team.
Send 11. run field goal block. Just run that. At this point,
block.
it wasn't working anyways. It's the same story. It's this defensive line. Great in the pass rush. We were definitely a lot better in the run stopping last year, but this was probably because again we were ready for the pass and they hit us in the mouth with Joe Mixon, gloveless Joe Mixon, very badass. I got to say, gloveless Joe Mixon, badass,
very old school, yeah.
But again, first quarter,
taking a page out of OJ's book,
but the first quarter,
let's not take too many pages out of that book.
But the first quarter, Joe Mixon's running the ball hard against us. Second quarter, he's still running the ball hard against us. Third, he's still. At what point are you enough? I don't trust.
Lessons have to be learned from the Texans game.
And I'll say
Because
it.
this team is very similar to the Texans,
But
Well, with
I'm
Jordan Love, they're very similar. With Malik Willis,
Yeah.
let's still not discount the wheels that Malik Willis has. I mean, that's why he was drafted so high, because he's an athlete. So you still have to give him that respect. So definitely gotta shadow somebody on him.
I might be going out on a limb, but I actually like Josh Jacobs a lot. Like I think he is a better running back than Joe Mixon. They're different styles, but production. I really liked what he did with the Raiders. And he's only 26, so he's kind of in that prime. I like Josh
Yeah,
Jacobs,
he's
and
not old yet by any means. Yeah.
I'm
That's
nervous about
crazy because he's 20. Mixon is 28.
him.
I feel like he's been in the league for 15 years.
It's
Like
been
I feel like he is a
7 or 8 years.
15-year running back who has just like he's been trapped in Cincinnati for years and years and years. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, he can't be that old. Like he looks young, he runs young, and he's fucking 28. I was like, this guy's been playing for Cincinnati for 15 years. I refuse to believe
Yeah.
that.
I was telling Texans fans all around here that was like, dude, y'all got such a steal with Joe Mixon, and they did exactly what I said they were going to do and what they should do, and it bit us in the ass. But
Mhm.
this is one of those times where I wish I wasn't right on that. But hey, good for Texans fans, bad for Colts fans. But like I said, we need to learn from that. Learn from that hard lesson and apply it towards Green Bay this week.
That's what makes me nervous the most is Josh Jacobs. I just his different range of talent. I'm far more nervous about Josh Jacobs than I was Joe Mixon, and that's not good because he almost had 160 yards. So there's like
Yeah.
something's got to give here with Gus Bradley in this defense because he's on the hot seat, and you got to believe that Ballard is too with the Juju Brents injury. You got to believe that he's got to be sweating a little bit. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
There was a perfectly good player over in Kansas City we could have made a trade for. That would have bolstered this secondary.
Yeah.
Perfectly good. Pay him a little more. Come on, man.
For sure. So I guess with all that, the keys to victory and everything. So what is y'all's prediction? I guess final score for Packers Colts.
Man, I mean, I definitely have us winning this one. I probably have to go. Let's see. I say we get 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. So, I guess I can go. I wouldn't go over 30 for the Colts. I don't think that's going to happen just because Green Bay's defense is like a middling defense. They're not the best, but they're not bad. I say Green Bay gets a touchdown, 3 field goals. So let's call it 27-16-ish around there in favor of the Colts. But I could see Green Bay scoring another touchdown with Josh Jacobs.
Okay. Alex?
My rule of thumb is to never pick the Colts. If I would really like go through and predict, we would be 0-17 because it's just superstition. My logical brain is telling me that the Colts will win. It's Malik Willis at quarterback. I would say it would be pretty close though. I think I do see a little bit of a step back offensively. I think they will take a little bit of a step back. I think the Packers might set up for those deeper balls a lot more. They're going to be a little more ready. I would say it's pretty close because we always play close with the Packers, especially 21-16 Colts. I could also see Green Bay, like Malik Willis, just dicing us up down the field on the final drive and beating us like 24-21.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. If I think this will go one of two ways. They'll get it. They'll get it. Malik Willis. They'll have some big plays. They'll have some good run plays. especially on a Colts crappy secondary. There'll be some passes there.
Yeah.
So, but just looking at it, the Texans I think are a much better team offensively and defensively, especially with Malik Willis. Starting, and Colts put up 27, which could have very easily been 34, 35 points, if not more.
Yeah.
I don't think the Packers are as, loaded talently as the Texans are. But so I could see this getting out of control in the Colts' favor. And I could also see this, like I said, kind of as one of those, they're 0-1, but kind of as a trap game where they kind of ink out that last second field goal. Like, I guess the Miami Jacksonville game ended.
Just like in Indianapolis 4 years ago.
I could see something. I could see something like that happening. But I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to say the Colts do cross 30. It's hard to say that it's in Lambeau, but I'm going to lock it. I'm going to go 34. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to be close to you. I'm going to say 34-17. Colts.
Okay. All right. I mean, the defense, as far as the Packers defense, I mean, Xavier McKinney's their biggest threat in their secondary. So as long as you can scheme away from him, then I think that we'd be able to throw all day. But don't undercut. Now, look, I understand like Malik Willis, like we talked about, we're not really worried about him at all, which he hasn't really shown a reason to be worried about his passing prowess. But he's got a good group of weapons here. I mean, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Dubs, Dontavian Wicks, who's very, very undervalued. Josh Jacobs passing. They could be if all he does is just quick dumps and makes those players make plays, then I think he'll be okay. But he's going to have to take shots, and that's where I think that to score those touchdowns, he's going to have to take those shots beyond 10, 15, 20 yards of passing completion. So I don't see how Malik Willis is going to be able to do that. Even with all those weapons.
Colts need to get into his face.
Yeah,
bring
exactly.
5, bring 6. Make him beat you. Make him do it.
Make him uncomfortable.
And if he can do it,
exactly.
props to them. But I know he's not going to do it. He's going to sit forward. They're going to sit back. He's going to dice us up underneath. I know I have a bad feeling that's what's going to happen. Which is why I hope the Colts get Jonathan Taylor involved and they have a lot of drives like they had against Cincinnati where they just can maintain possession, maintain the clock, and not kind of rely on the secondary to come up with stops. I just don't trust Gus Bradley to do what he should do with the personnel that he has.
Well, good thing is our edge, our defensive line just in general is really good. So even with Pay being the starter technically right now, I think that's going to open the door for Latu to have a lot more playing time, which he's got the speed. Now, Pay's stronger, but Latu's just got that good speed rush that everybody loves nowadays. So if you can get that going and attack on those edges, man, it's going to be great. We're going to be fine. We'll get in his face. I don't have any doubts that Gus Bradley learned a hard lesson, and maybe somebody even talked to him, said, hey, what you did last week's unacceptable. That can't happen again. I mean, you already mentioned him being on the hot seat. And I think after not making those adjustments, it really put the microscope on him even more. So I think he's going to be more apt to make adjustments now. I would assume that Shane Steichen has went and talked to him as well as the GM and Ballard and said, this needs to happen. This can't happen again. I would look at that. Just watch that during the game and see how the defense adjusts. And let's see if Gus Bradley really learned his lesson. But I think he did.
Young, inexperienced quarterbacks do not do good if they have no time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Send 5, send 6. If he can get the ball out quick enough and he can get a complete pass, good on him. You give that shit up and you pull him down. That's all you got to do. But he's not going to get accurate passes out if you are making it hell for him back there. I don't understand.
Make him be a quarterback, right?
There's absolutely no reason for us to be sending 4 on almost any play. It should be almost every single play. Send 5, Send a fucking safety if your line's getting tired. Like, do every single combination you can possibly think of, because I know there is the human element of those guys are going to get tired. Every
Yeah.
single combination, you better be sending at least 5. At
Yep.
least.
No, for sure. But yeah, this kind of game makes me nervous. But I think the Colts, they definitely should win this game.
Weather update, because we're a dome team and we suck in any other weather besides the sun. 80 degrees, supposed to be sunny. There is a 25% chance of rain on Sunday, which is the highest percentage of the next 4 or 5 days. So stay sunny. That's it. That's all it's got to do. If it drops below 60, we're done. We're losing.
Well, with it being September, I don't think that'll be a problem for now. So let's go and get the Green Bay game out and done early.
We're not going to get a snowstorm. We're not going to no blizzards.
No frozen tundra.
No frozen tundra.
Remember that game against Buffalo?
All that snow.
How long ago was that? Shit, was that like 2016? Frank Gore, I think. No, who was the running back? LaShawn McCoy broke one off in like overtime in literally like 2 feet of snow.
I started him that game.
Nice.
It was a good game. I assume that was a pretty good game to start in it.
Oh yeah.
All right. I guess I got about 10 minutes left because I got to do this AFC South show. So let's just kind of dive in, do a little bit of fantasy football for all you fantasyers out there. Let's see. I guess take it away, man.
Well, so this week, the big ad that everybody wanted to see was Isaiah Likely. We talked about if you were starting Mark Andrews, you were hating every catch that Isaiah Likely took. So hopefully you went out and got Isaiah Likely on waivers if you needed tight end help. Alan Lazard, another big ad. But so we've got some big outs, right? So we talked about Jordan Love being out. Don't go pick up Malik Willis. Don't do it. Get literally anybody else.
Other than matchup is
yeah. Another injury that's going to hurt you at your position is Jake Ferguson at tight end. I wouldn't really trust anybody else behind him. Hopefully, if you had Jake Ferguson, you went out and got Isaiah Likely as your backup, and that should help you a lot. But Ferguson will be back. Don't worry, he'll be fine. I wouldn't necessarily drop him, but if you can drop a lesser player for Isaiah Likely to add in place of Jake Ferguson, do it. And maybe even trade Likely once Ferguson comes back, or you see how that plays out. Trade one of those players for some better talent somewhere else to help you in other rooms. So Mostert and A-Chain. Mostert is definitely going to be out for the Dolphins. That's Thursday night. A-Chain is looking like a game time decision. So put him in your flex and see how that's going to work out. I would look to go and get Jalen Wright if you really, really believe in the Dolphins running backs, which I mean you should. They haven't given us any reason not to trust their running backs. So we see how that has developed from Kyle Shanahan's offense. And go ahead and pick up Jalen Wright. I think he would be pretty good if you need the running back help. Now, if you're good at running back and it doesn't hurt you to lose A-Chain, you're okay, no problem. But look for Jalen Wright on waivers. Your waivers should have run today, so hopefully he's still there. Just get that quick ad. Some players that really showed their worth that I think you can move into starting lineups if you haven't. I don't know why you wouldn't have Rashee Rice as your starting lineup. For some teams he could be your number 3 receiver. If he's your number 3 receiver, your team should be looking pretty darn good right now. Some other guys that did well that you can trust. You can trust James Conner against the Rams. They're feeding James Conner. Now, look, there's always a chance he gets hurt. But right now, look, this is redraft that I'm talking about. So start James Conner against the Rams and you're good. Somebody that really that I was so excited about, and I've always loved him since his Ohio State days, J.K. Dobbins. Okay, he's got the Panthers this week. Super juicy matchup. Go get J.K. Dobbins because he probably wasn't drafted in your league. If he's still there on waivers, which he shouldn't be, but if he is, Get him, and you should be able to start him if you're needing running back help. Like if you're one of those people who lost A-Chain, go look for Dobbins. Start him against the Panthers. You're gonna like it. Brian Robinson showed, even with the presence of Austin Eckler, it doesn't hurt his production. And what's even better is he's got the Giants defense this week. So that's another juicy one, just like Dobbins. Man, Brian Robinson was drafted. If you have him, maybe think about sliding him up into your start, or maybe even in your flex. Some guys that didn't do so well for you that I probably would temper expectations on this week. I would even say so much as to maybe sit them. If you have the luxury, right? I get Zamir White is one of those guys that you drafted to be maybe your RB2. Hopefully he's your RB3. I wouldn't trust him so much this week against the Ravens. The Ravens have shown they're pretty good, solid run defense. So go ahead and temper expectations on him, especially with Alexander Madison getting a lot of the passing work. And he's shown to them in week 1 that he can come out and he can do that again. So I think they're going to lean on him a lot more with Alexander Madison, because chances are they're going to be trailing. So which means more PPR value, more garbage time. So look for Alexander Madison over Zamir White. But then again, Zamir White might get those red zone touches. But Javonte Williams is another one that I would temper expectations on, that I would even venture so far as to maybe look to sit if you have a better matchup. I wouldn't say a better option, because Javonte Williams is a good running back. Don't get me wrong. He's a good running back, but the matchup just isn't what you're wanting. Okay. In redraft, you're wanting the matchup. So maybe look to sit Javonte Williams this week. Okay. But I get it. If you can't afford it, I get it. Totally get it. Right. Some players that get drafted in the first round, second round, Puka Nacua. Okay. Puka Nacua landed on IR this week. PCL sprain. He's going to be out at least 4 games. Okay. But what's good, though, is you probably could go ahead and get Tyler Johnson. He's free in every format. Redraft, dynasty, it doesn't matter. He's free. Go pick up Tyler Johnson, stash him on your bench. If you have to, if you really believe in that Rams passing offense, throw him in your flex. See what you can do. If you're in one of those leagues where you're starting 3 wide receivers, but you went running back heavy in the draft, heck, throw him in there as a receiver and see what he can do. It's not like they're facing a really elite secondary in the Cardinals, so you're fine. But I pick him up, maybe not start him unless you have to. Okay. So listen, I'm not saying start him. Okay. Only if you have to. Another injury, Kenneth Walker with an oblique. That opens the door for Zach Charbonnet. When Zach Charbonnet was drafted, I thought it killed him, because I loved him coming out of college. I thought it killed him going to the Seahawks. But this opens the door for Zach Charbonnet. This is why they drafted Zach Charbonnet. So I believe you can pick up Zach Charbonnet if he's available, and you can throw him there in place of Kenneth Walker, and I think he's going to put up some good numbers for you. Obviously, Kenneth Walker is the much better player. Okay, let's not get that twisted. But Zach Charbonnet can be a good add for you if he's available. Most people just overlooked him. They're going to take Kenneth Walker and not think twice, just kind of like how in Jacksonville they have Tank Bigsby, who's another guy I like coming out of college. But everybody wants Travis Etienne, right? So go look for Zach Charbonnet. Maybe slide him in your lineup. See how you're going to do. I think he's going to do okay for you. Seattle loves to run the ball. They always have, except for in Super Bowl moments when they like to throw the ball for no reason. CMC is still limited. Okay. What's really weird is all the news outlets, they were like, oh, CMC's could play. Well, just before the game, all right, well, he's not going to play. Fire up Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason said after the game, he knew Friday that he was going to start.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't believe anything Kyle Shanahan says. That guy is a liar. He does not give a crap about your fantasy teams. So probably do the same thing this time. Okay. If they won that good with Jordan Mason, I guarantee you, okay, this is a Kingmaker Sports guarantee. They're not going to rush CMC back looking at how Jordan Mason played. Okay. If you picked up Jordan Mason, play him one more week. You're going to be fine. Okay. That fooled everybody. I'm sure, Alex, that probably messed you up. I know it messed me up in one of my leagues. I had to rush to go find somebody. I ended up having to put Braylon Allen in because he was the only available guy on Monday freaking night. So screw me, right? So, but as far as fantasy, I think those are your guys.
I helped manage my girlfriend's team in another league, and she had McCaffrey. And I was like, "Oh my god, give me your phone!" I was like, "Come here!" Like I literally ran into her room. I was like, "Give me your phone! I gotta fix this." And she was like, "What? What?" I was like, "Christian McCaffrey's out tonight," and it was like I don't know, 30 minutes before kickoff, an hour. But luckily, I got Jordan Mason. Thank God.
Nice.
I looked like a good boyfriend.
Oh, you got so. Oh yeah. She made you extra special dinner that night. No, that was a great move. Him being available, like he was drafted in
Yeah.
my league. That's awesome. Good for you. Did y'all win?
Let me see. Let me look. She probably did.
Jordan Mason won a lot of
No, she
people
did
leagues. He
lose.
did very well. Oh
Dang,
wow.
she lost.
Oh wow.
Shame.
That sucks. I mean, it's not my team. I helped manage it for her. That sucks. I didn't even look. She had the Jets defense. So, well, I had the Jets defense for her. Not good.
Well, since we're on such a positive note,
Well, Jets defense should help her out this week.
When do the Jets ever not let you down? Like when do they ever like live up to the true expectations? They've never. It's 1969.
Never.
There you go, 1969. We remember it well. Well, none of us do, but we know.
Well, they're playing Tennessee, so they should be okay.
I don't trust a single thing the Jets ever say ever. It's the same thing with Jacksonville. They've said that Aaron Rodgers was the Messiah. They said that Zach Wilson was the Messiah. They said that Sam Darnold was the Messiah. They've said, could I go on? Mark Sanchez. I mean, good Lord, Tyrod Taylor, Geno Smith.
Yeah,
None of them have worked.
Boy, I think Tyrod's going to have a career like Josh McCown, just being that journeyman, or
good on him. Man.
Almost Ryan Fitzpatrick-ish, where he just takes a trip to every team.
I'm just trying to play.
I love that.
I'm just trying to play a game and start a game in every stadium.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love seeing guys like that. I hope they all succeed. Like I really wished Ryan Fitzpatrick could have gotten a Super Bowl. Like that, those first 3 games. Remember when he came out just hot, and that's when he was, that was when he was Fitzy, and we were like, oh my God, are the Bucs like good?
that Fitz magic, yeah.
It worked.
But
hey, he made millions of dollars just off having a couple great games a year.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Who did he? His final team was what? The Commanders, and then he retired right after that because he got hurt week 1. Oh, I was so excited for that team too. I was like, they have to get this done. Like this has to be Ryan's year. And no.
I don't know how they ever strapped that helmet on him with that big beard.
Oh my God. Well, it almost fell off in Miami. Remember that?
Oh man.
Backwards helmet, just launching that shit up.
Good old Fitzmagic. Gotta love that guy.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to wrap it here. I got to jump over to this AFC South show.
I think we've covered just about everything, huh?
Just about.
Yeah,
that's a good place. We ended on Fitzmagic. so we're just over 53 minutes. Made it this far. Please make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. We're coming out with 2 of these a week. Got 2 or 3 shorts after every episode coming out. So just make sure you subscribe so you get that little notification bell. We're coming out with content all the time. Make sure you head over to Kingmaker, DFF, Chaotically Intolerant. Do the same for them. And we'll be back probably Monday after the game against the Packers. So make sure you tune into that. And my kid is crazy. With that,
hey, I'm there too, man. Don't worry.
Be good people and go Colts.
Go Colts.
Go Colts.
Go do the little heart, baby. See y'all next week.